what to. So I thought, we've already got a general who we kind of know, and we should allow this to be like the completion of his story. And I mean, I think it works very well. It would have been ridiculous to bring in a kind of like newsreel moment of the real people who did that thing. So the whole moment there that got created so beautifully by the two of you just isn't in the novel, because in the novel he's not even there.
I believe you have a question.
Is that the secret of the city is in its people, and there are cities that are more beautiful. There are cities that have other qualities, but here I've really missed. I mean, I have a lot of friends here still, and I don't see nearly enough of them. And so when I come here, that's what I enjoy. I just enjoy reconnecting with human beings. I mean, I don't care so much about going around sort of sightseeing. Never been very good at that. Very bad at shopping. So it's people for me, really. And those connections have fortunately stood the test of time and long separation and so on. But yeah, that's what I miss, and that's what's nice to renew.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Mr. Barker, do you have...
Well, yeah, there's a question about whether writing this book has released a weight off you. It's a very heavy book. And so, yes, and also I've actually, on this endless book tour I've been on for the last many months, I've said to many of the journalists who interviewed me that this is the last time they get to talk to me about this stuff. Because in future, if any journalist wants to ask me about those years, I'm just going to hit them with a 600-page book. and say, the answers are in there. If the answers are in there better than I can, improvise them. So I do think it does feel like, and I've actually noticed since then that people have stopped asking me about those years, maybe because they're afraid of the act of violence that will inevitably follow. But I do think that in a way the book does draw a line under a period of my life. I think it says, here's a thing that happened. I mean, in that sense, the reason why it's called a memoir and not an autobiography is that it tries to focus on a particular story that I have to tell. Something happened to me. I think most writers' lives are not very interesting, because we sit alone in rooms for long periods of months and years. And I, unfortunately, acquired an interesting life. and so I thought, tell that story. There's a story there to tell that probably should be told, and I would like to be at least the first person to tell it before other people have a go. And having told it, I do feel free of it. There's nothing else to say. I mean, it's all in there. I have no other words to say on that subject. So yes, in that sense, I do think it's a way of saying, and that's one of the reasons I waited so long to write it. I wanted to. I mean, it was a very kind of emotionally difficult time, and I wanted to write it when I felt in a better, calmer place, so that I could, as they say, reflect in tranquility, look back on that period, and write it, be the writer of it, not be simply somebody blurting out a kind of pain. And so that's what I felt, that I waited until I would be in control of the material and not the material in control of me. And that's what I felt writing it. I felt that it was a good idea that I'd waited that long. I was quite surprised by the fact that I wasn't really that upset by revisiting that time. I mean, occasionally I was. There were days when I would be in a really bad mood, and people pointed out to me that I was really being horrible, and I realized that it was because of writing about that day. So it's not that it didn't affect me at all, but on the whole, I was just able to sit and write it like any other book, just to happen to be happened to be the story of my life, but I mean, I could write it, or I tried to write it novelistically, as if it was just a narrative I was telling, which was happening to all these people who all just happened to be real people. And yeah, I do feel monkey off my back.
Can I ask one last question? Yeah. Good evening, ladies and
You all are
gentlemen.
willing? Okay, but this will definitely have to be our last question. I think
Ms. Mehta and Mr. Rushdie, are you worried about the box office collections of the film?
Please tell your friends to go and spend lots of money. Buy tickets because our children have to eat.
Any plans to meet the Salman Khan, the current?
sir, we really need to end the session. Thank you so much for your question. And ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this evening. Thank you.
I'll be on my toes. Literally. Yes, sir. Sir. All of you. Thank you.